Hi guys, welcome to DOdaily, Wednesday workout. It's Des here, just looking to instill a little bit of midweek motivation, hopefully to encourage you guys to stay on top of your own mental and physical health. Of course, that's what we like to do through DOdaily, use the power of activity and getting out in the fresh air to really make the most of what we're doing. And today, whilst normally I'd be dreaming up a Wednesday workout challenge, I thought it was best just to put that on hold for another 7 days due to the adverse weather. Much of the country, not just Nottingham, where I'm walking by the river, is covered in snow and ice. And whilst it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, I made the call last night. It was done so with health and safety in mind, and whatever we're doing, whilst I do like to encourage activity, well-being is the most important thing here. It's the most important thing to consider, and if we can do the things we do, and stay safe doing it, all the better. What I will say is you can still get out there. As you can see, I'm out for a walk, taking the pace off. I am actually going to break into a run because I find a nice bit. I've got my trail shoes on, a nice bit to run on. So if you do get out, still sort of try to use it as motivation, try to get in some activity, whatever you choose, a run, a walk, a cycle, even if it's a case of taking the pace off or working at home. We like to share those across the story, tag in Wednesday workout, check out all the links at the end of the video. What I want to talk about today is overthinking, and sometimes even with that decision I made there, sorry, just dogs wondering what I'm doing. It's not natural. I tend to get approached by a few. Overthinking, even making that decision, I can think whether I'm doing the right thing, whether it works, should I be doing it. And I wanted to kind of follow up a little bit on what was said yesterday. I touched on the fact that with the situation, coronavirus, lockdown, restrictions, we seem to have hit a flat spot. A lot of people are saying through social media, or people I've spoken to in particular, are saying that this is the worst lockdown. And I've also spoke about my own situation. I think I really felt it myself last week. And I think that boils down to the fact that nothing's really happening, is it? Whereas before we've been given dates and times to work to, a week at a time. Of course, governments get criticised for doing this, but I think it's always given us that little bit of hope. So we've possibly been overthinking it in a positive way, thinking that we can go and do things. And of course, the disappointment comes after that, after it sort of sets in that you can't do certain things. But I think what's happening here is we're just getting used to the fact that no new information is coming to light, and it's really, really upsetting. It's really discouraging. And what tends to happen with overthinking is it's normally negative. And that's what I'm saying is the difference from before. Now we've got nothing positive to think about. We're thinking, will it ever end? Will we ever get to will the vaccines ever get out? Will it ever go away? All these things. Will we ever get back to normal? That's because we haven't got a chink of light to work to. But what we almost have to do to combat that is live in the moment. And this is where what I'm saying about yesterday. Whilst I used some time last week to reflect, and we've used plenty of time over the previous few weeks to set challenges, set targets, build up to them, achieve them, get that enjoyment. I think what we really, really need to do when things are really on top of us is just live for the moment. I said this before. I said it on the Thursday Thoughts episode when I kind of poured out and gave a lot. I said that sometimes it's just about buying a little bit of time. I mentioned when things really got to me, just going to bed at night, getting up in the morning. It always makes things that slight bit easier. So what I'm saying, with overthinking is try to forget too much about things that are too far in front, things that have gone. Almost think about what you're doing next. I get out, do my activity. I'm on annual leave this week, as I mentioned a few times. So I try to get out, do my little bits of activity, don't really plan too much what's going ahead, because I'm still feeling it. I'm better, I'm a lot more positive than I was last week, but I'm still feeling it. So I'm finding a new way to kind of deal with it right now, to stay on top of it. And what's important is, like I say, to almost live in the moment. If you think back to when we were kids, when you're 4 or 5 years old, something happens, you fall over, you burst into tears, and then 5 minutes later you're running around again because you forgot the implications. Whilst of course we can't forget about everything, how could we? It's such a big thing that's happening right now. Whilst we can't forget entirely, it's about putting it to the back of our mind sometimes. Use it when you really have to. Use the past in particular, like I mentioned earlier in the week, to sort of get us through. Remember how far we've come. But once we've realised that, it's a case of driving forward, isn't it? And if looking too far is not helping, thinking, can we do this in the summer? Can we do this in the spring? When can we go on holiday again? For many of the guys within the running community I'm heavily involved with, it's what race can we do? I think it's just about focusing on right now. What can we do now? How can we be prepared for those races? What can we do? Today, look to take something from every day. I always say that. Yesterday was my longest running streak ever. Today, when I get into that one, it's going to be my longest running streak ever. So that'll be my small win. That'll be my gain. And whilst it's been busy today, apologies for potentially posting the video late. Whilst it's been busy today, I'm trying not to overthink it. I've not planned too much, so little things have gone wrong along the way, but it's not bothering me too much, because like I say, if I start overthinking and the implications and not doing some of those things, then I would have been fed up about the situation, not having too much to do. It's good to keep busy, it's good to take our mind off what we're doing. Hopefully I've been able to sort of deliver this message the way I can, but it's like everything, isn't it? Plans change, things change, and you can think about it as much as you want, but sometimes external factors take over. So it's a case of not worrying too much. I said a few months back, I've had a stat about 85% of all worries becomes unnecessary, and we're all guilty of it. Don't get me wrong, I like to think I'm a really positive person right now, but I can be really guilty of overthinking, worrying, stressing, and then ultimately you look back and go, what was all that about? So that's all I'm trying to say at the moment. We've got to kind of take each day as it comes, get something from it, plan to get something from today. Whether it's a run, a walk, whether it's a home workout, or even cooking a different meal, listening to a podcast, absolutely anything. That's all I'm trying to do, is pick up these small wins along the way to temper my expectations a little bit, keep them in check, because we all can't wait for the day when everything sort of releases itself. But right now, with the lack of information, which we've complained about so much, we've had too much, we're all getting a little bit edgy about not knowing, I'm realising that not knowing sometimes is a lot easier than knowing what's going to happen. Is more difficult than knowing what's going to happen. When we know, we can almost prepare and plan a little bit more. But the reason I feel everybody's struggling right now is because we don't exactly know. We're not getting that much information. But what we need to do, guys, is leave it to the people who make the decisions, keep ourselves safe, keep ourselves doing the things that we know work, keep getting out there, keep getting that activity in, keep looking at ways to improve our own well-being. And that's what it's about, isn't it? If I had not cancelled that the session today, the challenge, I'd have been stressing about somebody damaging themselves or doing them self-injury, and I've been overthinking it all day when potentially nothing would have happened. But by sort of living for the moment, saying we can always come back to this, we can always do it again next week, we can work to the same plan, it means I didn't have to overthink about it. I could sort of sit back in comfort and realise that nothing's going to happen. Of course, if people get out there, it is with their it's their own responsibility, anyway, but that doesn't help. That doesn't stop me sort of overthinking, that word again, and almost feeling some responsibility, because we are trying to encourage activity. We're trying to encourage people to be involved in something. So when it's good, we're a team. When it's not so, I'd still like to think we're a team, but like I say, I don't have to sort of take that on my shoulders and unnecessarily stress about it. So hopefully the guys, you sort of get what I'm saying. If things all get a bit too much, if the whole situation gets a bit too much going forward, it's just a case of taking a step back, looking at what you can do next almost. I've mentioned several times I've had this week off from my work I do before I get into do running stuff in the afternoons, and I've just not planned anything. I've done lots. I've had lots to do. Plans have changed, but it's helped me get through. And then at the end of the day, you can sit back and say, I've done that, that, and that, and we go again tomorrow. If you like the video, guys, please like and share. There was a message in there somewhere, and I am here still somewhere. It's getting pretty dark now. Like I say, I can't do too much about that, but the video's done. Please like, share and subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow with Thursday Thoughts. If you've got any questions, please post them. Really, really appreciate them. It really, really helps with what I'm doing. Can't thank those enough that continue to support. If you can answer the throwback question, I know it's a touchy subject. I know it's mental health this week, but if you can answer the question of what's your one single most useful coping mechanism, it doesn't have to be in depth. I can post it anonymously as well. So please post them in any of the comments on this video on the social media. I'd love to sort of have plenty to go at. Probably be a mixed bag again, with one or two I've received already. No theme this week, not getting as deep as last week. But if you want to understand how far I feel I've come, and the difference talking, staying connected, an activity has made on me, please do check back on last week's. Like I say, it's supposed to be midweek motivation. If it works, use it, whatever it takes. Stay strong, guys. Don't let the week get on top of us. Keep getting involved, keep doing the things you do, keep busy, stay in the moment. That's the most important thing. Till tomorrow, till Thursday Thoughts, where I'm live at 6, just doing it.